Now,
The oral tradition of storytelling is the oldest of all of our traditions. Long before the flute, the rattle, and even the drum, there were storytellers. And unlike today, those storytellers were not thought of as just entertainers. They were teachers and historians. Having no written language, it was storytelling that preserved our legends, our history, and much of our culture. But storytelling was also used as a method of teaching the young ones, and sometimes reminding the not-so-young ones how to live in a good way.
done say everybody, welcome to CWS Indigenous Storytelling. Put me on solo. No, myself. Give me a sec there, Uncle. I'm going to introduce. So, you guys, welcome to our Indigenous Storytelling podcast. We are going to be live podcasting for the month of February. It is Indigenous Storytelling Month in February. That's why we came up with this idea. We were going to go a different way with elders, and but our coworker Brenda here is out of commission for a bit, so we're going to do this with staff. And my Uncle Winston has agreed to host for Mondays and Fridays. Today is actually going to be his Monday, so we welcome you guys to come in and join us. So, without further ado, we're going to welcome him in. Uncle, how are you?
Amoinanto.
Good. I'm doing good. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, Nia Winston Watani. I am from Red Pheasant, and I've lived all over Canada, Europe, Germany, and all over the place. So I'm happy to be here. When I first heard this idea, and actually the first time I saw it, I thought we need this every week. It's got to be here every week. It cannot just be one week a year or something like that. It's got to be every week. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it 1 week a month. No, I mean every week. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, as you can see, maybe I'm a little bit excited right now. But what I am going to do before we start, I am going to sing a prayer song. So all of you then, I would just like you to be quiet, turn off your radios, don't look at your cell phones, put them down, and just listen to the song. Okay, here we go. then I scooped on Mr. Hickey quite which I go to has been we promote the agriculture all across Canada. Keep a go copy with China. Tante we do the keep a go copy with China and Katugisida. A woman and the name Mr. Hickey quite which I go town. Hey, hey. Okay.
Hey, right on, Uncle. That was good to hear. I'm really glad you agreed to do this. Just from your history, your background, your knowledge, and it's a pleasure to have you on to share your wisdom. So, yeah, what are we talking about today? Where are we starting off? Where are we starting
Well,
off this month of February?
this morning we're going to start off with a book here, a little storybook.
Okay.
And it's written in Cree, and it's called Nistamina.
Ni stamina.
Yeah, Nistamina. And this is the old Nimos Osumwa Awa and Okusa, his grandson. So this man's name is well, I don't know what his name is, but the book was written by Brent Colbeck and Eileen Beaver. So this is a book written by Native people.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. The South Slave Divisional Educational Center. So it's up now, Fort Smith, the South Slavey Divisional Education Council. So good. So that means, hey, right on. We're getting Native education from all over Canada.
Yeah.
Yep. So what's happening then is I went to a big meeting, and it was for a house that was in Toronto, and it was called Good Living House. And this was organized by 4 grandmothers, a council of 4. Maria Campbell was on there, Jan Longboat, and Madeline Dion Stout, and Carol Terry. And I knew all of them. It was so nice. So when I got there, they spoke Cree to me, and I was really just sweating because I never speak Cree. I always speak English. Yeah. But here we go here. All right. This is where we're going to start. Let me see. I want to make sure I do. Yep. All right. So this right here, the story here, he's going to fix his car. Okay. And his little grandson is standing right beside him. He's going to fix his car, and his little grandson is right there. And so the little boy says, and that's what's going on here? Just a minute. Did I get something all mixed up here? Hang on a minute. Let me have another look at this here. Might be going backwards here. Let's go here. We'll try again. There's what we have. Nistamina. Nistamina. Usually they spell that nista with an I, but that's okay. And if they want the E sound, then they put an accent over the I and it becomes E, like in machine. All right, so let's try it here. Now, they haven't just said that. I think we'll have another lesson on the syllabics. Okay, here we go now. Now, here's the first one. The little boy is picking up wood. His grandfather's putting wood in his arms. I remember my father doing that, my older sisters. And also, I remember your grandfather, Nathan, the deceased Peter Watani. I used to go out there and spend time with him. He was one of my favorite uncles because he was always smiling, laughing. We always had a good time together, and we laughed all the time. So it says here, Nitawei Tuewin. So my grandfather is loading my arms up with wood. And then over here, he's checking his car, checking the oil. And it says here, Nimusum nanapateo otapanasqua. And that's checking his, see, hang on a minute. I got everything going backwards here. All right, there. Okay, can you see it, Nathan?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I'm watching.
Okay. And then the little boy, he says, he's fixing a little car too. If you can see that. So I'll put that so you can, I've got to stand up here. All right, there's a little boy. And he said, Nistamina, which means me too. And there's a grandfather there working there. Now he's got a fish. And he says, Numusum natapayo. Nataye, grandfather is filleting a fish. And so there he is. There's a tree there. Whoops. Oh, there, yeah. So there we are. Nimusom netapayo. Netayapu. And over on this side here is a little boy. And what does he say? He's fixing, he's got a fish there too. I'm in the car. And he says, Nistamina, whoops, what's going on here? I'm getting myself all mixed up going upside down in the wrong
That's
way.
all right. No, this is awesome. I think this is pretty neat how it's all going so far. So keep it going, Uncle.
You betcha. All right. So his grandfather is filleting a fish. And then on the next page there, he wants to say me too. So he's got some fish there too. And he's got the he's got the fish there too. And he is also working with the fish. Only thing, his fish are in a fish bowl. But that's okay. We get the idea. So now he says, Nimusum Misquami Nateo. And that means that grandfather has gone to fetch some ice. So I'll turn that over. And this little boy, he's very smart because he's gone to fetch some ice too. But the only thing he goes to fetch the ice, he goes to the fridge to get the ice. And he says, Nistamina. All right. Now, his grandfather is chopping wood. I remember chopping wood when I was a little boy. I started chopping wood when I was 10 years old. And at 10 years old, I had a little axe. It wasn't a big axe, but it was very sharp. And Dad just told me how to do that, to lay a log on the ground, put that log on the ground. And always, if you go through the wood, you'll always hit that log that's there so you won't dull your axe. And this little boy here, he's thinking too. And so he says, me too. And there he's getting his fish out of his ice out of the fridge, or his fish.
Nistamina means me too, eh?
Yeah, nistamina. Yeah, nistamina. And you know, you never said nistamina. You never talk like that. You always talk slowly. Nistamina. So right off on nista, the accent is on the first syllable. And so when you do that those are called slow accents. So nista, and then the short A is usually short. Nista oma. See that? Like, and okay, so anyway, nimosum mittahane tam. Grandfather has gone to fetch wood. Now let's see what he's got for me too. Okay, I'll let you say the me too, Nathan.
All right, say it again.
Okay. Nistamina. Here, look at that.
Hello, Tammy. Thanks for joining. Nistamina. Nistamina.
Yeah, you can see it right there. Yeah, perfect, Nathan. Perfect.
Nistamina.
Yeah, nistamina. So the first syllable is longer. Nistamina. Oh, now this one here, it says, Nimosum machu. Nimosum machu.
Nimosum machu.
Yeah, grandfather is hunting. He's got a nice rifle there too. Looks like a 30-06, I think. Yeah, I think because I had one like that. And I even had the same kind of telescope. Okay, so that one here then is Nimosum machu. So this
Nimosum machu.
Machu.
Nimosum machu.
Machu. All right. And the little boy says, and now he's hunting too. Okay, and there he's hunting. I don't know what he's hunting, but he looks to me like he's sleeping. So maybe
he's playing around.
Maybe he's hunting in. Yeah, he's hunting in the dream, playing around there. Okay. The next one says his grandfather, I guess, drives a school bus, and it says Nimosum ni ta atoske. Okay. And what does he say? He says, "Me too." Let's see what he's doing there. Oh, he's working too, but he's drawing pictures. Wait a minute, right there. Oh, okay, there he is. There he is. Nista mina, because he's working with that little girl. Yeah, nista mina. Yep. And then now he's got his grandfather there all by himself, and he said, "Peyako kwan nimusum," and he said, "I only have one grandfather." because sometimes that happens. You only have one grandfather after the years go by because they get old. Just
Yeah.
like me, I am getting old. I am 81 years old today. But you know what, Nathan? In reality, I'm 82 because when I was born, I started off one day at a time and then right up to 1 year. And so when I got 1 year old, they gave me a birthday party. But I had already done my first year. So in reality, I'm 92. I mean 82.
100. You'll get there. You'll get there. You'll get to 100.
Yeah.
You'll
All
get to
right. Now
100.
we're just going to go to the other side here. And we're going to just show that once in English. Okay. So I am going to go to behind. I'm going to go behind. Okay. All right. We're going to do this like this. All right. Jerry's going to get differently organized.
And bear with us, everyone. This is our first day. We're gonna be learning as we go on doing this, and by the end of we're gonna get way better.
Yeah,
So me too.
that's good.
English.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And photographs by Nikki West. I would like to be like my grandpa. Okay, and then of course he says, me too, because he said, my grandpa fixes cars. And over the page, we look on the other side of the page, and there he is with a little toy, and he's fixing it. Whoops, yeah, there it is. He's fixing that little car. Looks like he needs glasses there. I hope he doesn't poke himself with that screwdriver, but I don't think he will. All right, and then he says, my grandpa catches fish. Oh, that reminds me of the good fishing times when I was in the army up in Camp Petawawa, and that big lake was there, and I caught the biggest fish out of there. And actually, I got a picture of it, and I should have thought of that because I could have brought it out of the office and showed you. It was 49 inches tall, and it was 19 pounds 7 ounces. And if he'd have eaten one more fish, I'd have won the Molson Brewery fishing contest for the smallest fish. So they were catching some fish that were 60 pounds, and 20 pounds would have been the smallest fish. But that fish that I caught, he wasn't hungry, so I never did. He didn't help me win. Okay. My grandpa catches fish. My grandpa catches fish. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. And he said, let's see now what. Oh, he said, me too. This is funny because look at him. He says, me too. And he's in his fishing aquarium catching fish. You know, over here, they have the Lake Winnipeg here. And people go out there fishing. And when the COVID happened, there was no storage. They just ended up with hundreds and hundreds of boxes of fish. And so they came to Winnipeg and they gave out boxes of fish. And everybody got one for sure. And sometimes people got two. And when I went there, I got 10. And I told them, I said, as they were bringing me the boxes of fish, I had my van. And I said, you know what? We give these fish to elders. We'll be going out tonight. We won't get home early tonight. So I said, you know what? I said, we actually should get more because we give this fish to elders, the ones that we know, the elders, and we'll take them this fish. So they said, well, will 10 be enough? Do you want more? Yeah, I said, give me 20. So they gave me 20. And within an hour, I had gotten rid of one whole box of fish. I don't know how many, and they were all filleted already. So out of one car, I gave 6. There was 3 people in there that wanted fish, and they all wanted to take it to their relatives. It was whitefish. And it's been Mr. Hickey Kwai, ate lots of white fish. And so did your grandmother and all us Indians there, the older people, because whitefish is a medicine fish. It has that serotonin in it, which is really healthy for the human body. And so that's why, Nihiwa, long ago, we were so healthy and we lived such a long time because we were always eating medicine. All right. And so I'll tell you what, we've got a choice there. After this little book is finished, we can talk about medicine. We can talk about a whole bunch of things. And I'll let you know, and maybe Nathan and I will pick one that we're going to sing. But right away after I finish this, I'll read a little story about a little bear that, a big bear that went to sleep. And when everybody walked by him, they saw him sleeping. He was so big and fat and warm with such a big fur coat. A whole bunch of animals jumped in there with him and slept with him. So we'll read that one next. Okay, here we go. And there is Grandpa. He goes down to get ice. And so the little boy, he's got to say, me too. So he's going to get ice. Nathan already knows where he gets his ice. Where does he get his ice, Nathan? From
the lake.
No, this where he gets it from is always in your kitchen. It's always electric.
Oh, the fridge, yeah.
Yeah. He gets his ice from the fridge. Me too.
I thought we were talking about the old ways.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
And now this one here, he says, Grandpa chops wood. And I remember doing that, like I said before. And so we see how he was doing it. Oh, he's chopping wood. Yes, he is. Boy, that reminds me when I was a little boy. Yeah, he's chopping wood too, getting wood. And you can rest assured that his grandfather told him exactly how to use that axe. Okay? And that's one thing that we always learn. And so the meadowlarks, when they sing, they say, and what that means is it says, bring back my axe, because you're always lending your axe out to somebody. And so the meadowlark, he that's what he said. Bring back my axe. Okay, so you know what the meadowlark sings now. All right, so now Grandpa is going hunting. Like I said before, he's got a 30-06 there with a nice telescope. I had that telescope right in my garage, but I don't have a rifle anymore. Okay, my grandpa goes hunting, and and this is where we had a little laugh because he's actually sleeping, and he's either fooling around or else he's hunting in his sleep. Okay, well, whatever he's doing, I hope he has a good sleep and catches something. And then now he says, my grandpa goes to work, and there he is. There's Grandpa going to work, and he says next, of course, he said me. Oh, we've got to say me too. Let's see. Oh yeah, here he is. Me too, he says, and he's working, but he's got a pencil in his hand. Yeah, they're drawing pictures, and you know what? Because Native children are probably the best artists because they look at everything really carefully. You don't have 100 cars going by every hour. You might have some horses going by. You might have some deer going by. Some so you get a chance to really look. So your powers of observation are very, very keen, and that's why he's got art, and that's why that little girl is doing artwork also. Probably his little sister. Okay, so anyway, he can say me too, and then the last page he says, I like my grandpa. And then next page, what's going to be on the next page? Oh, there's nothing on the next page. Okay. So there's that little called Me Too, and one side in Cree, and then for children that can't speak Cree, there's always the other side in English. Okay? So these little books there, you get them from Saskatoon at the Gabrielle Dumont Institute. Nathan?
Yeah.
You can phone, her name is, she's a friend of ours, and you can phone her and ask her for a list of books that they have. That they've got so many beautiful, beautiful books in color and everything like that. And you know what? I've forgotten her name, but she's with the Gabriel Dumont library there.
Okay.
Yeah, in Saskatoon. But I'll get to the phone number and everything. Oh. Okay. Now, I said I was going to sing a song, right? Okay, so I'm going to sing.
Yes, let's hear some songs, some singing. If you guys don't know, you're going to know now. You're going to find out. My Uncle Winston he's been an Indigenous entertainer for, probably what, 60 years, Uncle?
Well, I'm 80. No, I started when I was 10. So that's when the people would come into town, and they'd come over to my place, and they would listen to me playing the guitar, and Amy would be playing the piano, and we'd be singing. And they used to love it because they'd come to town shopping, and then they'd stop at our place and visit Mom and Dad. And then I would show off with the guitar and with my drums and with the piano, singing and dancing and everything. So I was a born entertainer.
Uncle, you're going to have to back up just a bit there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. The strap. And anything can happen. We are live. The strap just broke.
No, it didn't break. It just slipped off the end.
So 7 years, my Uncle Winston has been entertaining people all over the world. Yeah, that should work, I guess.
I think
And
so. I'm gonna
who
tell you.
who have you met? Who have you met that was famous? Famous, like who
Well, I
is the
sang. I opened with Johnny Cash. No, I mean I opened with.
wow,
Yeah, I opened with Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson. The big festival
wow,
down in Regina, and I sang in a place that every entertainer in North America wants to sing it, and that is Carnegie Hall in New York. I sang there all by myself. I sang a song called Masi Cho, and
oh, that's
Masi
Denny.
Cho.
I'm starting to
Yeah,
learn. I'm starting to learn a little bit of Denny. I got a friend of mine. We're podcasting together, and he's Denny, and he speaks Denny, and he always saying Mercy Cho, and
yeah, Masi Cho. Yeah, yeah. They say Merci Cho. That doesn't come from French though. You know, it's
no,
actually it's actual Dene.
mm,
Masi Cho. Yeah. But anyway, I want to sing a song that you all know. Your parents, hopefully your parents are watching, and they'll say, "I know that song. Winston used to sing that." And I wrote this with the University of Saskatchewan,
mm,
and they were writing books written in Cree, Indian stories. Why they wanted to have Indian stories and Indian songs was that the Indian students that came to university there, they were just all not interested in what they were doing. And the
yeah,
reason why they were not interested in, they were listening to a foreign language and everything, and that was English. So what they did was uh, they put everything into Cree, and so they asked me if I could write a whole bunch of songs in Cree. So what I went with the Cree language instructors, and that was Ida McLeod, John Tatusas. Just trying to think if there was a Watani in there, probably, but there was about 20 of them. Dorothy Francis, and yeah, and so we wrote a whole bunch of songs. They were my songs, and they just translated them into Cree. So this is one of the songs they translated. Okay, it's called
all right.
"Say This." I am tired. Nenesto sin.
Nenesto sen giha. Right, that one.
That's the one.
Nenesto sen. That's all. I remember a bit too
Pono
hard.
pono te kiweyan nenesto sin. Hey, Nathan, you can come in. Everybody can come on this part. Wahaya haya haya ho. Wahaya
Hiya, hiya,
haya.
wahaya, ho.
Nenesto sin ne wikiwan. Ikawa pa me tingiton. Ne wikiwan. Wahaya haya. Come on.
Hiya, ho. Hiya, hiya, wahaya,
La
ho.
la 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 la. Hey 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 hey. Yeah 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 yeah. Oh 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 oh. Yeah yeah hey yeah yeah. In this dosini wiki one. Ikawa pa me tenke ton. Iti sisaki akage. Wahaya haya haya ho. Wahaya haya haya. Everybody now. Nenesto sin, nenesto sin, nenesto sin, nenesto sin, nenesto sin. Wahaya haya haya ho. Wahaya
Hiya, hiya,
haya.
wahaya, ho.
Nenesto sin, nenesto sin. Oh no, oh no, teki weyan. Nenesto sin, wahaya haya haya ho. Wahaya haya haya ho. Ne wiki wan kin so dawin. Ne wiki wan ki twamina. Nenesto sin, wahaya haya haya ho. Wahaya haya haya.
Hey.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey. Oh, Auntie Darlene's watching as well. She said, go for it, Nathan.
Right on. Darling, Tanse Toya. Kaya sa spin you up. It'll be nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That was awesome.
we'll do another little song just for the fun of it.
Yeah,
And
it's keep going. It's all about storytelling and in any form you think is you see fit.
you betcha. Well, I got my guitar in my hand, so I'll just sing another song. And
Yeah.
here on this thing here, there's supposed to be a clasp on the back there. And
Mm.
I've got one. I noticed one yesterday, and I'll put it on there because that guitar that should never fall off, and it fits right over this, and it locks it up. You can
Yeah.
buy it at any music store. It's only about 50 cents.
Mm.
Okay, here we go. Kini panchi, kini panchi. So kini pan, that means are you sleeping? And chi means that makes it a question. So if you say kini pan, that means you are sleeping. But if you put chi on the end of it, it says kini pan chi, that means are you sleeping? So that's what we're going to sing.
Kini pachi.
Kini pan.
Kini panchi.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Kini panchi, kini panchi. Ni stes John. Say we Petsy canny will, say we Petsy canny will. Ding dong ding, ding dong dang. Kini panchi. Let's try it. Kini pan. Just repeat.
Kini pan.
Chi.
Chi.
Yeah, and I think we'll say that three. Oh, you say that beautifully. Okay, it's 3 times here. Kini panchi.
Kini panchi.
Nistis John, say we Betsy canny wear, say we Betsy canny wear, ding dang dong, ding dang dong. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Nistis John, morning bells are ringing, say we Betsy canny wear, ding dang dong, ding dong ding. Just fooling around.
Hey, man. Hey, well, that's how it is, but that's how stories are told, like when your mushroom or your cookum or your uncle or your auntie or whoever was your mom and dad were just telling you stories. Sometimes is fooling around, and yeah. Well, we got my our other guest here, not a guest, my other co-host here would be
Oh,
Nikki.
good. Okay. Hello, Tanse, how are you? Kini Panchi. Kini Susi in?
Aha.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you say tapwe, tapwe, tapwe.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, iki one scan. What?
Tapwe. Yeah.
Moya, the next one.
And then you say
Okay,
tapwe.
let's go tell another story then. All right.
Yeah. What are we gonna learn about?
We're going to learn this time about tracks in the snow. This is a kind of a funny story. It's a good little story, but it's all about tracks in the snow. And it was written by a young Chinese fellow that came to Canada, and he was trying to figure out a way to make some money, which a lot of them do come and they figure out something. So it's a very good story. I'm going to just stay behind the camera here because, so anyway, I can see, oh, I can't see it like that. God, my arms aren't long enough. I'll have to sit here and do it from here. Okay, tracks in the snow. Here we go. Tracks in the snow. All right. Now, the first thing we see is a little fox, and we see a little boy all dressed up in that little warm coat, which is very nice, keeps him warm. And this was written by Wong Herbert Yi. Han Young Haseo. All right. And this whole story was written for Ellen. I guess that must be his daughter. She's making a snowman. Yeah, that must be his daughter. And so he wrote this book for her. All right. Okay. So the first thing, she's looking out the window and she said, just outside my window, I see tracks in the snow. And there she is looking outside her window. And you can't see the tracks, but they're on this page here. Yeah, you can see them, okay? Just outside my window, I see tracks in the snow. Well, who made these tracks? And where do they go? So she goes looking for them, see who made those tracks and to see where they go. And there's an old fox behind her looking at her as she walks along. All right. So he's watching her, and up in the tree there, you see that little bird? everybody's watching us. All of nature is very interested in human beings. They know that we are part of nature also. But deer, when they see us, as soon as they see us, they run away because they know that we will shoot them because we love eating their meat. So she said, I, I skip across the yard. I skip across the yard. Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. I skip across the yard around the old oak tree, and then I fall down and I hurt my knee. I was so happy, but now I have no more glee because I hurt my knee and my toe. Now I don't know where to go. So I think I'll keep on walking. And now past the garden gate I go. Oh, that's a cool thing. I can just be happy I've got the key for the garden gate. Is there a little animal looking at her? There she goes out that garden gate. Let's have a look. No. Yeah, I think there's a little rabbit. Let's have a look. Can you see the little rabbit there by the little bush at the bottom of the bush? He's a little brown rabbit. So he's a little town rabbit. They don't change color when they're in town. He's a little rabbit. Look, okay, so we'll go on with the story. Past the garden gate I go. And she sees something and she says, it's too big to be a rabbit. What she sees there, right? Okay, she said, oh, that's too big to be a rabbit. Rabbits don't have holes that big. And that bird is looking at her. It almost looked like a chicken up there. Said, it's too big to be a rabbit, and there are no bears around. She says, I wonder what that is. And the fox is there. I think he's there. Yeah, the fox is there, and he's looking at her from the grass. And he knows what it is, but she doesn't know. She said, is that a hippopotamus there? Oh my goodness, she said, there's no hippopotamuses in North America. Well, let's go check and see, she says. So they go over there and she sees all these tracks in the snow. And she says, oh, there are so many tracks in the snow. Oh my goodness. Well, through the snow, we will go following these tracks. I don't know where, but I hope that whoever has them has lots of hair because it's cold outside. Okay, all right. Oh, that was a crow on top of a rock. I thought that was her hair, the way it was cut. All right. In and out of the rocks I squeeze. Right over here. Yeah, right over here. In and out of the rocks I squeeze. And that's what happens when you're small and you're walking around in the bush and on the prairies. You have to find a lot of things there. And then she finds a bridge. And over the bridge I go, marching through the snow. Far away, I see a house. Oh, I wonder if there's a mouse. Well, my goodness, she's got a lot of time to just skip along and dance along and sing. And let's continue and see what else she does. And she sings to herself when she sees the tracks. Well, that could have been a duck, she said, but I think they've all gone away. I know it's not a woodchuck, she said, because they sleep all night and day. Yes, they do. And as she walks along, she sees something. And look at that. Inside in the ground, she sees a road that goes down underneath. And when she looks down there, there is a gopher sleeping. But she can't see him because he's underground. And so that's why they get really fat. They eat so much that when they go sleep under there, it's like they just eat that fat that's stored in their body. And that's how they live. They sleep, their body slows right down, their heartbeat slows down, they don't waste any energy. They just sleep, they don't even move for a long time, a month at a time, 2 months at a time. And then when they finally come out, they just run and play and jump and everything. And all the hawks and eagles are waiting for the gophers, and coyotes and foxes. They're all waiting for the gophers to come out. And so when they come out with their little babies, and little babies don't know anything. And the hawks and eagles, they're glad when all those little babies are born because they come and eat them. And that's what they eat, are other animals, little animals. Okay, so let's go have a look again. We let that go for sleep. As she goes along, she says, tracks in the snow, tracks in the snow. Where do they go? They go through the snow, and I don't know, but I am going to show where they go. And in the meantime, Aniquachas is up there in the tree, the squirrel. Can you see him, the squirrel? Yeah, oh, there he is right there. Yeah, there is Aniquachas up in the tree, upside down. And I think I saw a fox there too. Or maybe, a bird. Pieces. Yeah, Aniquachas equipieces. Well, two more things there that she's seeing. And the crows, they go, ow, ow, ow. And the little squirrel, they talk so much. Chip, 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 chip. And they are the biggest gossip in the forest, because every time somebody comes by, they say that, here comes so-and-so, it's walking over here now, make sure you don't get caught by him, he's got a gun, run everybody. And so everybody listens to the squirrels because they tell everything that's happening. And so the little girl keeps on walking. She says, I peek under a fallen log and tramp stand up a hill, quickly down the other side, the tracks keep going still. And I guess that little squirrel is running along right with her. And not only that, there's a rabbit there too. And there she is peeking under the log, but she doesn't see anything under the log. Whoops. Yeah, there. Oh, okay. Now, getting better. There's a little squirrel. Aniquachas esqueces. There. Okay. All right. And so she just keeps on following those tracks. And as she does that, now there's a fox there hiding. He's not going to try to catch her or anything like that. He's just hiding there, looking and see what's going to happen. Okay, because everybody's interested in human beings, because we're always doing things that they don't do. And now she says, so she's got now that crow is following her, that fox is up in the tree, and the next page says, could it be a fox, a dog, maybe a squirrel or kitten? Oh, look here, what's this I see? Why, someone has lost their mitten. Yeah, and there is a little mitten in the tree, and there's a squirrel and a fox, and there is a little mitten hanging in the tree. And she said, oh, look, there's a mitten. Well, someone lost that, I see. Okay, so we'll go a little farther and see what else is going to happen. Tracks in the snow, tracks in the snow. Who made the tracks and where do they go? Well, this time we have a rabbit, Walpus, and we have a deer, Aphtimosis, and Pieces, the crow. Okay, here they are. Tracks in the snow, tracks in the snow. Where do they go? Where do they go? Yeah, and so you can see the deer. There's the big deer, the hang. Let's see if I can stretch that. Yeah, there's a big deer over there. This picture here, you can see the little girl. You can see Walpus behind the tree. And then this one, you can see the deer, the crow. All right. My feet are getting oh so cold. There's still no sign of it. Even though the time is late, I really hate to quit. And she's just looking kind of sad because she knows that she has to go home pretty soon. And so, because she's getting cold too. And she says, I really hate to quit, but I got to leave it now. I got to go home. And so on the next page, then we see her going home. She said, well, the snowflakes are falling softly, quiet as a mouse. Hey, that tracks are going right back to my house. What? She said, and then she remembers that she was outside yesterday. Wait, I know who made these tracks. I know where these tracks go. And she looks and she sees her house there. And there's that crow. And I think there's another bird in the bush there with that crow. Oh no, Aniquachas, the squirrel. The squirrel is up there in the tree with the crow. And there's that little girl. And she finally knows where the tracks go. She said, I know where they go. She said, I made them yesterday, playing out in the snow. oh boy, I forgot all that. What's wrong with me? I must be getting old. And then she goes, and there's let me see what that is. Outside the window, that crow came along and he's looking inside the house, and her mother is giving her a pancake, it looks like. So she's going to eat something, and now she's happy. She made those tracks when she was outside playing in the snow. All right. Now, that is about as simple as it gets. But what I'm going to tell you now, you have lots of old stories from your grandfathers and grandmothers. I remember when I was a little boy, we used to go to Battleford every summer, and I would go there with my cousin Rodney Sunyas, and we'd play around the fair all day long. And we'd be there for about, I think we'd be there for about 4 or 5 days, and all the Nihiawak, Iinuak, all of us were allowed to put up our teepees there. Not our teepees, but our tents, because we always traveled with tents and horse and wagon, of course, and a rifle and a buffalo blanket in the back. So when we were going home, the kids could all sleep on the buffalo blanket. Mom and Dad would sit up front, and the horse would just take 25 miles, 20 miles back to Red Pheasant after about 4 days of being in town. And it was really nice because we were allowed to go there because we were an added attraction. All of a sudden, the white people could see an Indian village. And that was exactly how we lived, like that, in the tents and in teepees. And we didn't take the teepees because we had to carry all those poles, and they're too long and too many of them. We didn't have a wagon long enough to carry them. Today, we just put them on our truck, and we put a red flag on there, and we travel 100 miles with those poles on our truck like that. And then we set them up. And if you're real good at setting them up, a teepee up, you can set up a teepee in about 15 minutes if you have, say, about 3 guys helping. They had competition down in the Crow Nation in Kichimukumaneski, the Long Knife Country, United States. And the winners that set up their teepee, they set it up in 7 minutes. That is so fast. So you've got to have long, skinny poles. Jack pine is a good thing to have, or poplar. Those are what we use around Red Pheasant. And you got to watch out. Don't ever let somebody that doesn't know what a teepee pole looks like or has never gotten one, don't ever let them go to get your teepee poles. Or they'll bring you back great big poplar trees that are so heavy, it takes 2 men to lift them up. I had to do it one time. I had to set up a teepee all by myself, and all the poles were green. Oh, by the end of the day, I was so tired. I think I went to bed at 7 o'clock that night. I didn't eat. I just lay down in the bed and went to sleep all night long. But they needed a teepee, and they hired me to put up a teepee, and I just happened to have a teepee. So I set it up, and that was a hard thing to do. Well, it's just like a house. When you build a house nowadays, you don't do it by yourself. And they helped you set up that house. There was people there that knew how to chink logs. And when you look at some of those old houses, those logs are chinked so good, and they put mud in. You'd almost think they had done mathematical equations on it and put something in there. But they just cut them perfectly because they had a good eye. They had to use their eye. And when you have to use your eye, you get very good. Like when you hunt like this and you have to shoot at something and it's dark and you can't see your sights. What those old Indians up north were telling me what they did was they, even if the sight got buggered up, they didn't care because all they do was if you throw something like this and you go bang with your finger, if your finger was a gun, you'd hit that thing, even if it was just a little 10-cent piece that someone threw in the air, you could hit it because when you point, you're right 100% right on it pointing. And so what they do then at night, it got dark and they couldn't see, and there was a deer there. They would just point their finger at that deer and put their rifle right straight, and they could do bang. They could do like that because they knew that when they're pointing, it was just right dead on, you know. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. And so what I'm telling you kids now, all right, this is very, very important. And Nathan, I want the little children to write stories. And they can go like this. This morning, I got up early. I was tired last night when I went to bed. I didn't want to go to bed, but Mom said, you have to go to bed. You're tired. So I went to bed. And in the morning, I got up and Mom had made me a nice hot bowl of porridge with milk. And it was so good. We have a cow, and Dad milks the cow every night. It's a Jersey cow, and there's lots of cream in there. So I always like that. And then, of course, Mom always makes bannock. Oh, and I love bannock with some nice homemade butter on there and some nice cream on my porridge from our cow. And it's good. And then I got my shoes on and I got my jacket on and everything. And I went outside to wait for the bus. And when I got there, all the kids, hi, hi, how are you? How are you? Oh, I'm pretty good. And a lot of the kids said, "You come in. Did you have a good sleep? Today." And you answered back in Cree and said, "Are you happy?" Oh, top way, I'm very, very happy. How are you feeling? Quiz, quiz. Very good, very good. And so you're still speaking Cree, but so you put those Cree words down, just like we did with that story there. And so you never forget these little words. And the only reason why you can't speak Cree is you don't hear it all day long. Nathan, if you heard Cree all day long, you would be speaking Cree within a month. You'd be speaking Cree. And why is that? Because you've heard Cree since you were a baby. And those Crees are it's like a book that you got in the mind that just hasn't been opened for a long time. And that's why you can't speak fluently. And the same thing with me. We left the reserve when I was 2 years old. We came into town. Then for the rest of my life, all I heard was English. So I can speak English, but when I dream, I dream in Cree. And that's so interesting because they know I want to hear Cree. They know they know that I want to speak Cree. And how you say that I want to speak Cree, you say enote, that means I want. Enote nehio, that's Cree. Cree, that's a Cree man. Nehio weyan, and that's to speak. If you tell somebody to speak Cree, say, you have first of all nehio. Repeat that after me, okay? Nehio.
Nehio.
Yeah, that means that's what you are. You are a nehio. You are a Cree man.
Nehio. Mm.
Yeah. If Kotak is a nehio squirrel, a Cree woman. So nehio means to be Cree. If you say speak Cree, you just add a ni on the end of nehio, and it becomes nehio way. That means speak Cree.
Nehio.
Okay? Yeah, nehio way. That means speak Cree. And if somebody says to you, "What language do you speak?" Then you add a W-I-N on the end of nehio way, and it
Nehio.
becomes nehio win. And the W-I-N makes it into a noun, and it identifies it. So you have nehio, means Cree, nehio na peo, Cree man, nehio isquel, Cree woman. And then you have, okay, speak Cree, nehio way. It doesn't sound, yeah,
Nehio.
yeah, that way, quest on nehio way. And then, so what language do you speak? Nehio way win. That means I speak the Cree language. The W-I-N makes it into a noun. So it'd be the same as if you said somebody, "What language do you speak?" And you said, "I speak German." So German then is the noun. And so I speak Cree, that nehio we win. That's how we say that.
Nehio.
Yeah, so if you have a pencil there, Nathan, write down nehio.
It's right there on our board here. We're in the Cree room actually. So
Oh,
just to the
okay.
right and it's all there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, yep. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you say, so when I go now, you're still writing your story. Back to your story, and then you got to write. You got to write again. Say, it was a nice, fun ride. We had fun on the bus going to school. It was lots of fun. We sang one of my uncle's songs, Nenesto sen, kono, and everybody knew it because he'd come to our school many times already. And yeah, and we're proud of him. And so in your book, you can say, I'm proud of my Uncle Winston because he sings songs. He opened for Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson. He sang at Carnegie Hall. He's traveled all over the world in France, Europe, Australia. He's gone all over. But he loves it best in Canada because this is where all his relatives, Kakyo, Owakamaгаnak, Niwakamaganak, all my relatives, Otawigitik, they all live here, in Canada, Canada. Okay?
Yeah.
And one day when I grow up, I am going to be very well educated. I want to be a doctor of medicine. And why I want to be a doctor of medicine is because there's lots of my relatives know medicine, right from the plants around here on the earth, from the water, from everything that's here. Because, like my old grandfather told me, When the Creator put us down here on the earth, he put us right here where there was lots of food for us: buffalo, deer, elk, moose, rabbits, fish, everything that's got medicine. All of those things have medicine in them. And if you go and see a blood doctor, like I did, he said, Winston, he said, your blood is low. You need iron. So then after I'd been seeing him for a year, he said to me, he said, Winston, you don't have to come and see me. Just go see your own medicine men, and they will give you the stuff for your blood. And the stuff for your blood is the blood from buffalo, moose, deer, elk, caribou, rabbits, fish, grouse, everything like that. He said, all the animals that your ancestors ate, that your grandfather ate, only eat that. Don't eat the white man's food. Just eat what your grandfathers ate. So that's what I do. And I'm 81, and my blood analyst told me there's no reason why you shouldn't live to be 100 years old, because if you're eating what your grandfather ate, that's what'll happen. So what that means is you got to cut out the pops, all the pops. You got to cut out all the gums. And then there's a whole bunch of foods that we find are not good for Indian blood. One of them is potatoes. One of them is bread and bannock. Unfortunately, bannock, because we all love bannock. We all
Yeah.
love potatoes. Everything we love, we're not supposed to eat. But once you start eating the stuff you are supposed once you start eating the stuff you are supposed to eat, you will get feeling better. You'll feel it. You really feel good. So continue on with your little story then, and you say, yes, I want to do that because my auntie, she's a lawyer. My uncle Winston, he's a doctor. My cousin Rodney Sunyas, he's a lawyer. Winston's daughter has her master's in city planning and native housing. And then you just think about all of our ancestors, how they've all got good educations, and they all speak Cree, and they all know our stories. Like about 5 years ago, I was on the airplane, and I had to go to Regina to get to Winnipeg, make a little stop there. And I was sitting beside an older man, and he said to me, where are you going? And I said, Regina. And I said, where are you going? He said, no, I said, I'm going to Winnipeg. I said, where are you going? He said, Regina. So what do you do there? He said, well, I'm a doctor there. I teach there. And he said, do you know, this year, that was 5 years ago, he said, this year, there were more Indian doctors than any other university in Canada that graduated this year. And I thought, wow, our people are getting it. Our people, that's what the old people prayed. We had to put away our bows and arrows, and we had to now go to the books. That will be our weapon. Now are the books, not the bows and arrows or the trap lines. It'll be the books. And that's what those kids were doing. They're taking books and they were learning. And we had more Indian doctors graduate that year, 5 years ago, than any other university in Canada. And so you say that. So I'm going to be one of those people that can graduate, and we can make a better country because I will be in there in the government. I'll be the leader. Because Robert Willett, he had a dream when he was 12 years old, and he wants to be the Prime Minister of Canada. And that's what we have to do, is follow those kind of people. People like me, like Nathan, like our teachers, like all of the people that we know that have gone on and done so well, okay? And then you say, I am happy, and they put the end, okay? And that's what you do.
Awesome.
Now, the reason why I mentioned that was when the people were going around to all the waters, the lakes in Ontario. The children were walking around to the lakes also. And they were going to the lakes and they were blessing the water. And I know that this year that I was talking to a man. Oh, it was Duke Redbird from Ontario. Duke Redbird is an Ojibwe Indian from Saugeen in Ontario. He's a poet, and he did poetry all over the world. And President Kennedy, when he had people at his home down in Connecticut, and he wanted to show off some of his friends, what kind of friends he had, he'd phone Duke and he'd say, Duke, we're having a beautiful supper here, and I've got guests here from England, and I'd like you to say a poetry, recite a poetry, one of your poems about an old woman. And Duke would go like this right off the bat. Old woman, standing in the field, your head bent low. He said, I know that it has been slow for you to, and he would tell this beautiful poem about an old woman. And he has many poems. So every country in the world sent a poet to India. And at India, they gathered at the Taj Mahal, and that they talked with each other. Every country sent a poet there. So as many countries as there are in the world, there was that many poets there. What would that be? Maybe about 700 or 800, 1,000. And on the end of the second day, they were only there for 3 days. At the end of the second day, those people that organized that visit for every poet in the world, they came and they said, "We want to have one poem, one poet represent the whole world here. Who do you pick? We're asking you." They said to ask you guys, "Who do you want to represent you?" And everybody said Duke Redbird. And so Duke Redbird, that that second day, he became the poet, the number one poet of the whole world. And that was an Indian, an Ojibwe from Ontario. And Duke and I used to work together quite a bit. I played guitar and he would do poetry. And it was really wonderful being with him because he was so good. He was a poet of the world there for 2 days. He was a poet of the world. So we have so many people like that that have done so many beautiful things, great things. And that's inside of you just because you're an Indian. And Nathan, it's like what I'm saying, going to tell you right now. You know Cree, you can speak it fluently, you can speak it very well, but it's gone to sleep in your mind. And the only reason it's gone to sleep is you don't use it. It's like if you have muscles and your muscles are really soft, they're not
Yeah.
big because you're not using them anymore the way we used to when we were young.
Yeah.
Right? We're not running, we're not hunting, we're not jumping, we're not riding horses. There's a whole bunch. Whenever we stop doing something, we get worse at it. So what they say, like my dad told me on the piano, he said, "Son, practice. If you practice lots, one day the world will call you." Well, right after he died, I got called to Germany. And right after that, I got called to Australia. And I started getting called all over the places. And I wished to myself, I wish Dad was alive. I would say, "Dad, I just got a call to go to Australia. I'm going there next month, and I'm going to be there for 2 weeks." Well, you were right beside Australia, right, Nathan?
Yeah, I was in New Zealand. Yeah, I was in New Zealand and um '06, '07.
Yeah,
And
I bet you have a good story about being in New Zealand, eh?
oh, the Maoris, they're pretty much the same as us over here. You know, they have. I'm pretty sure it says iwi is there. It's like the Cree, and you know, and then they'd have like the Tuhoisers, the families I stayed with. That's their family clan, I guess. And everything about them is pretty much similar to us. You know, their their cookum or their grandma is their stronghold in the family, and then it kind of just goes down like that. And they have cousins after cousins that are pretty much their brothers and sisters, and you know, it's an amazing place down. And I suggest to anyone if they ever have a chance to go down to New Zealand and stay with the Maoris, is do it. It's and their language preservation and how they're bringing back their culture is like you go into one of these places like a school, and as soon as you pass a line, you don't speak anything else besides Tario, it's called.
Whoa,
Yeah,
right.
and, like, they say if you speak anything else besides that, you get kicked out of the building. So you
Whoa.
just sit there, just like you were saying, like, back when we just listened to Cree, that's like them, like, you know, that's what they did. They just listen, and then that's how they learn their language.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So they're immersed in their language, and that's how they learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's amazing down at, like, I'm trying to yeah, that one. I'm trying to bring someone from down there to come online here and explain a little about their culture, eh? Maybe doing the haka.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wondered if you're going to, can you do one?
I no, I can't remember how to do them, but I mean it's such a powerful thing. I went to this thing, you know, it's kind of like Grant GON there that they have down in the States. They have this thing in New Zealand where all the tribes come together and then they all do their dance. Like they all come from they're called Marais. That's where all their family,
Okay.
like when I say family, I'm talking like the Watneys, the
Right,
Buglers, like their own thing, right? And they all
right.
come together. So the Watneys would come on. I'll just say the Watneys. They all
Yeah.
come on and they bring their family dance together, and you know they dance their their beautiful dance. And then the guys in the stage to tell them that they're thanking them. They'll do the haka in the stage, like in the stands, and then like after every performance, man. And it's such a powerful thing. No matter how many times they do it, like after every dance, like another person will do it in crowd. It's such a powerful thing. Like, man, it almost brings you to tears, man. You're just like, wow, man, like that's the love they have, the power for their culture is, it's an amazing thing to see, right? Like just you're so immersed in it, and it's, I was really blessed to go down there and stay with the family who I stayed with, so kind of got lucky.
How long were you there for?
I was almost a year I was down there for.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't.
Yeah, I was looking for a wife down there too, so yeah.
I have to tell you my first experience landing in Christchurch.
Mm.
I was on my way to, I forget where I was going, but anyway, I landed in Christchurch. I was going to Australia. I landed in Christchurch, and I was just walking around in there. And then all of a sudden, I heard all this yelling. And these guys were at the bottom of the stairs. They had just come through the customs. And they were really yelling and shaking, shaking their fists. And I thought, oh no, let's get out of here. I said, and my wife said, why? I said, they're going to have the cops here any minute now. And if they see me, I look just like them, they're going to throw me in jail with them. And she said, oh, come on. She said, you're just scared. No, I said, I know what the cops are like. Come on, let's go. And I was trying to drag her away from there. But it was so exciting. So we just watched it, trying to see if there's going to be a big fight. And they're at the one, and they're just really yelling. You know what they were doing, eh? And upstairs they were yelling right back, and they're advancing. They're doing a haka. I never knew about it. And when they finished, all the white people were all clapping and yelling.
They call them Pakia down there. Pakia.
Yeah. That was the first time I saw that. And I thought I was going to get put in jail by association.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, it's like it does scare you when you when you go, because I never went there as a tourist. We were basically kind of like immersed in the Maori culture. Like they just threw us in there, like it's like bringing someone from the Maori culture and just placing them on a reserve and say, hey, start learning, kind of thing. Hey, that's how we were in there. And yeah, the first time you're seeing it, because they're welcoming you, and you're not supposed to, when they're welcoming you into their marae. Like what do they call them over in BC? They're those long houses, or
those log houses. Yep, long house.
Yeah. So they're kind of related, the Maoris and like the Pacific people. But when you get invited into a Maori house, you can't just walk in. You have to. There's a big ceremony, right? Even if you're just coming in for the day, like you can't just walk in. If you're not invited first, then you got to get out. So what they do is they do the kapahaka, and they do this, like all of them, man, like the iwi, that's what their family is, the iwi, they all in there on the outside, and they do this dance and everything. And then they have this fern, and they lay it on the ground. And if you take your eye off that guy, that means you want to fight, and you're coming in there to disrespect them. Yeah. And so you got to sit there like this, and then you got to go up to him and look at him and pick up that fern while you're looking at them. And you're scared because these guys are big, man. Like these guys are average height, like 6'2", 6'4". And then you're looking, and the guy's got the stick. I think it's called a Hiawatha, I think. And then if you take your eye off them, boom, they'll hit you like that. you gotta look at them like that, and you pick it up and you back up, and then they finish their ceremony. And then you go and do the hungy with them, where they press your nose, like their nose, like you're taking their energy. Yeah, it's such an amazing culture, man. Like, yeah, I really like, if anyone ever has a chance to go down there, man, go and tell them you're First Nation. They just love us, eh? Like, it's just like, yeah, it's beautiful.
I didn't know anything about that. And so we went to this place, and they're having a bit of a ceremony, and they were all singing. It was so beautiful. And so there was a big lineup of us. And so they asked me to represent everybody there. They said, you will be the chief, when they found out I was First Nations. And anyway, when they asked me that, this great big guy, he came up right in my face, that far away from my face, and he was sticking out his tongue at me and yelling at me. And I thought, what the hell? I only got it one shot in your eye. I better make it good,
Yeah.
Oh, that was really something. I'll never forget that in my life.
Yeah. And one of the stories they told me, like this one of the Maori men, the elders came over here to Canada, I think in the 80s, and they went to the Anishinaabe territory, and one of these guys was praying in some ceremony or something. And this Maori guy understood them. He said, I can understand that. I guess I don't know if they came the Anishinaabe back in the day with that song or something was brought from New Zealand or vice versa, eh? But this Maori man understood that song.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like he was just amazed. Like, and that's where we come back to this indigenous storytelling and we find the connections of how we are all connected in some way, right? You know, we'll have throughout the month, everyone, we are going to hear stories. You know, my uncle Winston is going to tell stories, plus other people are going to come here. But we want to just everyone to hear the stories, but at the same time, we want to hear that connection that we all have to each other through storytelling, you know, through oral history of how we're all taught.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you know what, Nathan? This is a very small world. And I know one elder, he said that this is a spaceship. And they call us, I heard that they call us Atsakos, space star people. And so what he says is we all came from stars and that we came on this spaceship here, Earth. This is a big spaceship. And he said, we have to look after this spaceship. And so that's what's happening. A lot of people now are beginning to realize we come from somewhere. We didn't just pop in here. We just didn't have that ability to reproduce and be born like that. It was given to the whole world. Like when you look at all our world, in the springtime, everything reproduces. Everything that's on the earth reproduces. And when that reproduces like that, that's why this earth keeps on going. And it's very good like that. And so now what's happening is there's a movement amongst all those 4 old grandmothers over in Ontario, the ones that started up the Well Living House, and that's for addicts and people that are on the street, people that got kicked out of their homes, or people that lost their husband or their wife. It's for all those people that need somebody. And Maria Campbell said that long ago, when somebody lost their husband and they had children, everybody pitched in and helped them. And today they said they don't do that. Everybody's just concerned about themselves. But everybody had that all over the world because the earth shifted. We had bridges and we were all over the world. And when I go to these different countries, I just feel like I fit right in. I just feel like I've been there at some time. And those are those memories that we have. And you have the memories of speaking Cree because sometimes you just have a really good accent. You've heard your mother say that or someone say that, you know. And so that's a thing. It's there. The only thing is it just has to be woken up and it has to be used every day, your Cree. So there's a Cree course that you can get from the Regina University, and it's from Dr. Jean L. Okimasis. And it doesn't cost anything. It's Cree 100. And she says all these words. She gives you all the rules and everything. And for Cree, for verbs, because it's a verb language. Our language is a verb language. And so there's verbs for everything. It's called an action language because verbs and adverbs are action. It's doing. And if you listen to a fluent Cree speaker, you'll never hear them saying, they never, ever, ever take a break. They just keep on going because the language is alive. And once it starts, it's alive and it moves. It keeps moving like that. And that's what there was a linguist that came to Canada in the early years of when they first started coming. And he lived with the Cree people and he studied the language. And he wrote back to England and he said, this is the most perfect language in the world. He said, it makes total sense. Everything is backed up. There's always love. There's friendship. There's guardians. There's food. There's play. There's stories. There's everything in that language. Every word just carries on something. It just carries on. And that's what we're missing, Nathan, by not being able to speak. And so we really have to learn to speak. So this morning I was up at 6 and the first thing that I did was I opened my computer. I've got that Cree course on my computer and I studied the words. And also, she also pronounces the words, which is really good. And that's what we're missing too. but you've got some very good pronunciations because you're living right there, and I can hear your mother in you lots of times when you're talking, when you say those Cree words. So yeah, so that's really good, that you went over there and you came back and you saw there's a way to live and everything is good like that.
It kind of gives me the idea, and this is where this storytelling came up, this online thing, like I know there's a lot, like there's apps being made and all this, and but this is, I think, right now is the perfect way for all of us to connect and learn our language. And I really hope someone out there does start a Cree podcast where they just speak in Cree, and and tell us stories in Cree, and then people maybe in the side there will kind of translate here and there. Because a guy who's a friend of mine now, Dene Yate podcast, is all in Dene, and they talk and they're always fluent in Dene, and people that that are Dene but don't really know it are in the comments asking questions, and then these people, they say, well, this is what Cree, this is what the Dene word is for this and that, right? Helping each other, encouraging each other.
Well, yeah, that's true, and I just got encouraged. My niece Nola Watani, that's Uncle Bill's daughter, she just wrote me and she said, Uncle Winston, you are a beautiful light. You're so kind and loving. Keep on doing that good stuff that you're doing, and and so people see us, and that's why we have to be good. So what's happening in the world right now? It's the young people now are beginning. We didn't do enough for them, and so now they are beginning to do stuff. You've got this beautiful gift of being on a podcast, being an announcer, setting it up, getting it going, and now we're doing it. And exactly what you wanted is happening right now. People are seeing that. They're texting, and but so the big thing is that a very well-known name, Longboat, Tom Longboat, was her grandfather, and he was the champion runner of Canada, champion football player, champion in everything he did. He was just built strong, beautiful, and wise, and everything like that. And she comes from him, and I'm not surprised that she said this. She said, "We have to become better grandparents. 100 years from now, when our children that are born 100 years from now, when they look back to where we are right now, they will say, Grandpa didn't do anything. Wonder why they didn't do anything. Why didn't they fight for that land? Why didn't they get their own educational system? Why didn't they get their own police system, their own government? Why didn't they get their own church? Like, why didn't they get everything that they were given? They were the most gifted people right here in North America. We are the most gifted people with everything. We're brothers with all the trees and rocks and sun and rain and everything like that. We're brothers to everything. And so we've got to do that. So a lot of us are now beginning to shape ourselves in a way that when they look back 100 years ago, they will look back and they'll see that name, Watani. They will see my name. They'll see your name. They'll see Bill Watani's name. They'll see Rodney Sunyas's name, all our relatives. There's so many of us, and we're all doing stuff like that. And many of us. And I heard Jeanette Bugler when she was talking about her brother when he passed away.
Jeanette's watching right now.
Pardon me?
Jeanette's watching right now. She just said Dunce.
Oh, good. Jeanette, thank you for what you said. When you talked about your son and you said that he wouldn't listen, he just was never listening to you and you were getting frustrated, but you had to keep on talking to him. And you were telling him this stuff one day, and the very next day he listened to every word you said. And you didn't say anything, but you were just surprised because that wasn't like him. He was always ignoring you, what you'd say. And that one day he just started listening to it. So you said to him, finally around the evening, you said, you really changed. He said, you listened to everything I've said today. You'll never know how happy you've made me. You're really changing. Why did you change so fast? And he said, Mom, last night your mother came. And she said, you listen to your mother now. She's telling you how to live. If you don't listen to her, you'll end up in jail. You'll end up doing bad stuff. You've got to listen to your parents, your grandparents and that. And she said, I will be watching you for the rest of your life until you leave this earth. I am your grandmother. I will look after you for the rest of your life. And then afterwards, Jeanette said, and Jeanette, you remember this, you said, I didn't know that when we pass on, we still look after our children. And I found that so beautiful that I haven't, well, my children listen to me now because they're all grown up, but I didn't know that our grandparents listened. But in reality, I did know, because lots of times they would come to me and they would be with me. And yeah, so, but I never was a big problem, you know. Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing. So thank you, Jeanette. You really said something beautiful, because that's what those old ladies, those grandmothers that started that house in Toronto, that well-living house, that's what they were talking about, that we have to take care of our country because our country tells us who we are. That's where our language comes in. That's where our food, that's where our protocols come in, our ceremonies, everything comes in there. We have to look after that land because the land is our relatives. The land is our mother, and it's our grandmother. It's everything. It's who we are. When I go back to Red Pheasant and I ride horse around there, it's almost like I get back to 100 years ago or 150 years ago on horseback and riding over those trails, or just even riding through the grass, riding through the bush, or with looking at a deer or something like that, you know, with being really still with the horse. And the horse, they follow you. If I'm really attentive, that horse, he's like this. His ears are just like this right away, and he's listening. They just stand there. They don't move. And yeah, so we can be right now in this year, which is 2021, right?
Yep.
All right. But we can go back. We can go back anywhere. And that's what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about that gift that we have. We have a gift. Every one of us has a gift. We all have that gift for doing something. Not all of us are meant to be doctors. Some of us are meant to be at home and look after the community. Some of us are meant, like Kerry Watney, he's got that garage, he looks after vehicles. Other people look after horses. Clifford Watney, when he was the Calgary King of the Stampede there. And also Baptiste, Mike Baptiste. Yeah, he was doing that too. He was the king of the Stampede. And we've been riding horses all our lives. So we really know horses, and horses know us. And it's really beautiful because I have a gift, and my gift is of singing and music. My gift is singing, music, and entertaining, because you need entertainers in the world. Because we tell stories, we make people laugh. And that's such a beautiful thing to do. That other people are good cooks, other people can repair everything. Other people are good psychiatric minded. They can help you with problems. Other people know how to break a horse. Like I always had horses. And one time somebody told me, you know, now's a good time to break your horse. The snow is pretty deep. I said, why? He said, you think that horse is going to want to buck around too much in the deep snow? And I said, yeah, you're right. So I saddled him up, jumped on his back, and he started bucking. I didn't care because it was barely anything. And then somebody else said, go break your horse in the slough. He said he's going to get tired really fast jumping around in the water. So I did that. And it was really good. It didn't take him long because every time he'd land on the earth, he'd sink right up to his knees in the mud. Then he'd have to get back out of there. And if he kicked really hard in the water and in the mud, he'd sink in the mud again. So pretty soon he was just trying to stay, you know. And when he came out on land, I just rode him around. He didn't even buck it out. He just gave up. So that was good. So we learned stuff like that. And a lot of people know good tricks like that. And plus, a lot of people know medicines that we use, just natural medicines that we use. And one of the natural medicines that we have, I remember one time I fell off the horse at Red Pheasant and I really hurt my rib and I had lost my breath. And Vic Thunderchild told me, he said, because he was a cowboy, big guy, about 6'6", and long braids. And he told me, he said, Mati Tisko Winston, he said, Kimi what? And he looked on the ground and there are little plants about this high and they're flat right in front of old Uncle Charlie's place. And Nancy Sunya, she came and she picked that little medicine up and she did like that. And she said, sure, put that in your nose. And I put it in my nose and went, chew. I sneezed so loud I popped my rib back into place. So we have all that kind of medicine. It wants to look after us because we are the chosen ones with the Creator, that He chose mankind. Everybody wants to help mankind. And so there's many medicines that help us right away. And there are people that know where to find that medicine. And they can go by the slough, by the river, on the fields, in the bushes. They can find that good medicine. One of those medicine is that muskigiwa, when you make tea with that little green plant. It's got a kind of a brown underneath and nice green on top, and kind of like it's almost like a pea pod, but not as big. But it's almost like that. But it's not round. It's just the top is round, kind of rounded like that, and underneath it's kind of brown. And when you make that in with your tea, that is good medicine, real good medicine for you. And like I said, that fish that we're eating, white fish, that is really good medicine because it's filled with selenium. And that selenium is very good for our Indian bodies. Rabbits are very good for our Indian bodies. Buffalo, moose. I eat buffalo, and that is so good. My blood is so strong from eating that. And moose, we had a big on my birthday. Jerry, my wife, said to me, What do you want to eat for tonight? We're going over to Robertville. I said, I want to eat moose. So she made a big pot of stew. And they just loved it. And Robert's wife is from Taiwan. And she's just a little wee thing. And she had 2 big bowls of that moose stew. I was so surprised because she's really fussy in her eating. But she recognized that was really good for her body. And Robert had some, and we left some for the kids. And so the kids will be eating some. Maybe they've already eaten it all today because they came there yesterday. And so there's so much medicine. But one of the things that all of us realize is we have to become better people because everybody is fighting all over the world. And we don't want Nola, okay, me too, Nola Moose meat is my favorite too. So we don't want to be fighting for the rest of our lives and our grandchildren fighting neither. So I told my wife today, then I said, I am going to be a better grandfather. I'm going to be a better man. I'm going to be a better relative. I am just going to be a good man. And she said, well, you're already a good man. Why do you want to be so good? And I said, I'm thinking about the people that are going to be born 100 years from now, when they look back in the history books and they look at us and they'll say they didn't do anything. Well, then I'm going to do something right now. And people are doing something. A lot of people right now are doing something. And when they look back, that's why I'm saying that we've got to have these stories to the little kids. You've got to write those stories. You've got to write about your grandpas and grannies and your uncles and aunties, your moms and dads, because we love you and we try to help you. We're not perfect, far from it, but we do try to help you all the time. And if we decide that we want to make life good for you, then we can decide to make life good for our grandchildren that'll come 100 years from now, so that when they look at us in the books and read about us, they'll say, hey, you got to read about this guy. He did this, he did that. And that's what you got to read about. And that's what you want to make literature for, that kind of stuff. So one of the things is to have a responsibility and have the responsibility to do that kind of a thing. So I'm going to talk to the little kids now. Now, I know that you love your mom and dad, and that's good. You're doing very good with that responsibility to love your mom and dad, your brothers and your sisters, your cousins, and your relatives. That's very good. You must have a good responsibility to be able to love. And responsibility, when you write that word down and you take it and you cut it in half, you get one side is response and the other side is ability. So what happens is, a lot of times people do not have the ability to respond to being an elder. Let's say, I remember one time, thanks Nola. I remember one time listening to this person, and he didn't seem to have any responsibility towards anything. And all of a sudden I realized he does not have responsibility because he does not have the ability to respond. And I knew right there that we have to learn how to have the ability to respond. We have to fight for what we want, and we have to say, wait a minute, that's mine. I'm not giving it to you. You can't have it. That's mine. And you have to have responsibility towards education. Good. I'm very proud of you. I'm so happy that you did that. When my daughter got her master's, we went here from Winnipeg, my wife and I. Her mother came from Thunder Bay. It happened in Vancouver. So we went to Vancouver, and her mother went to Vancouver, her brothers, and we all gathered together. There's a whole bunch of us. And it was so beautiful. And that was because of responsibility. So I'm going to, her mother is a really good storyteller. And she told us a story, and we were all laughing so hard. We didn't even care that it was in this hotel. We were the only family of Indians sitting there. We were laughing so hard. We were crying. Nobody said a word. Everybody knew we were just having a good time laughing. And here's the story. I'll tell it to you, okay? Anyway, she was going back east, going home. And as on the way there, she saw a car stop by the side of the road. So she stopped. And there was a man standing there and with his son. And she said, "What's the matter?" He said, "This deer just ran out right in front of me. And I hit him with the car. And the deer was lying there gasping." And she said, "Was anybody hurt in your car?" He said, "No, my wife was in and my daughter, but nobody was hurt." So she said, "I'll check." So she checked and said, "Is everything okay?" And they said to the lady said, "Yes, my daughter just had an asthma attack." She said, "Does she have to go to the hospital?" He said, "No, she'll be okay. She'll be okay." "Okay," she said. "All right." And then she went outside and she said to that guy, she said, "You are the one that killed that deer. He jumped in front of you. You couldn't stop fast enough. You hit him with your car and he's going to die very shortly." He said, "You have to offer him tobacco so that when that deer dies, he'll go to the other side right away. There'll be no wolves chasing him or kites or anything. He'll just go right straight to the other side." And he said, "I don't have any tobacco." And she said, "I'll look in my car and see if I have any tobacco." So she went to look in her car and she brought her drum out. She said, "You offer the tobacco and pray for him. And while you're praying for him, I will sing my drum and pray for him also and for you and your wife and children." And she said, and he said, "But I don't have any tobacco." She said, "You got cigarettes in your pocket." He had a pack of cigarettes. And he said, "Give him a cigarette. That's tobacco." So she started to sing, "Do it right now," because I can't stay here all day. "Do it right now." So she started to sing. After a while, she opened her eye like that to see what was happening. And here he had stuck a cigarette in the deer's mouth. And she's just singing. And she almost started to laugh. And she really wanted to laugh. And she was having a hard time. So she was really singing like that, just singing as hard as she could. So she couldn't see him. And he couldn't see her put her arms up so she could hide her face like that. And then after a while, she settled down and she looked at the game, and he knew right away because he saw her peek, and he knew I'm not doing something right. So he was singing again. So he peeked again to see what he was doing this time. And here he had lit the cigarette, and the deer was still gasping, and he was blowing puffs of smoke, and that almost just tore her apart. She almost couldn't stop laughing. So she was just singing as hard as she could, and finally, anyway, it was enough. The cigarette had gone out, and that's what she was telling us, and we're just laughing so hard. But in the meantime, that guy, when he went back home to his family, I'm not sure what he told his people, but boy, they probably had a good laugh too. So you never know when a real good story is going to come along. If you have the ability to see a really good story, there's always something. But I'll tell you what, it's 12. It's 1:30 now. Here, it's 1:30 there too, eh?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, these podcasts, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to only go till 12 to 2. They might end early. They might go a little over. It just kind of depends how the conversation goes or what that. What are you thinking, Uncle?
Well, I think let's take at least a 5-minute break.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you can take it, and me and Nikki here can take over for a little bit if
Oh,
you'd
that's
like.
my cousin Nikki.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikki, hi! I didn't recognize you. I can't really see you guys. Look so tiny there. Nikki, you should be on horseback. I would have known who you were.
It should be. It's a beautiful day today.
Oh, wonderful! I'll take a 5-minute break then.
All right. Well, maybe might go one on us. Go ahead, Uncle. Take 5 minutes.
Yep.
No, the other one. Hey, there you go. And then mute his mic on the bottom there. No, up. Just hold on. Yeah, mute his mic. Go down. Yeah, see where it says the microphone? Right there. Hit that. There you go. All right, you guys. There you go. My Uncle Winston, who will be hosting. Oh, I better put this up. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. He'll be hosting Mondays and Fridays. Today is his Monday. He's going to come back on here in a bit and do a little closing. But those are the stories, right? Those are the stories that we're going to be looking forward to going forward for this whole month of February. As you guys, I don't know if you know, it is Indigenous Storytelling Month of February. I don't know if it's a Canada thing or a Saskatchewan thing or what it is, but it is what it is, and we are celebrating that. And our story should be told every single day, 365 days a year, 24/7, just to hear those kind of stories. And there's millions and millions and millions of other stories that no one really knows about, but are told throughout the generations until they finally get to your ears, right?
Yeah. And also for you guys out there, if anyone has anything that they want to share, feel free to let us know, and we can get that on the air. It's good to hear that.
I threw Nikki in here. It's her first podcast ever. I said, "Here, come on live with me."
I walk in the door and he's like, "Here, come over here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, here we are."
Yeah. So, I'm so looking forward to these podcasts for the whole month. As many of you guys know, I do podcast myself, and I'm branching out. And you guys, big shout out to Raymond Fox and his partner River. Check them out on Facebook right now. 7 stars. They're developing a podcast, Indigenous podcast media, I think, and then there's going to be people podcasting them under them. I'm also too doing that with IOPS, so big shout out to them. And we always got to support each other, you guys. If Indigenous podcasts, Indigenous business, Indigenous anything, we all support each other 150%. But yeah, big shout out to you guys. So going forward, during the whole week, you guys are going to hear more staff come on. So the staff have 3 options. When I say staff, Clifford Watney School here, they're either going to tell a story themselves, they're going to bring a guest on and do a story like how my Uncle Winston is doing, or myself and Nikki here might interview the guest. I don't know. We're just kind of going with it right now. But knowing that every single day from 12 to 2, you will be hearing Indigenous storytelling. I am going to reach out to New Zealand and see if we can bring on some, as they say family, it's whānau, and see if they can come and tell some of their stories. Because like I said, we want to reach out to all Indigenous backgrounds and kind of just see, hear the cool stories, the creation stories and whatnot, right?
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. It's really interesting what you said earlier about how there's a similarity in, amongst all the cultures, all the different tribes. And that'd be really cool to be able to hear from them.
Yeah, like Nikki said, if any of you guys ever have any stories, or someone that is a good storyteller, let us know here. Inbox the Clifford Watney School page, and or get a hold of me, or get a hold of any of the staff, and let us know, and we will get a hold of these people, or you guys can help us get a hold of them, because it's so important for these stories to be told. And I know how it is right now. A lot of people think that we should be not telling these stories because we should be in face to face. But hey, literally the world we're in right now is forcing us to do this. And COVID is literally taking our elders from us every single day.
Yep.
So
we're definitely living in different times now. So I mean, we have to do what we have to do to preserve.
Yes.
To preserve our culture and our ways. And I know it's not maybe to everyone's liking, but I mean, we're doing the best we can. And I believe that going through the podcasting like this, it's just a really good platform for just a variety of topics and things that we need to share with everybody.
Yeah. We look like we're like on the news and breaking news. Breaking news in Indigenous. Yeah, this just in on Indigenous storytelling.
Yeah, Mary got a new parka.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys, totally looking forward to it. I'm just waiting for Uncle Winston. He's going to take his little break. We do have till 2:00. Like you said, some days we might shut her down early. Some days we might go longer. We just got to feel it out. So, I think he's back here. I'm going to see. Just unmute him for a sec. Uncle Winston, are you ready to rock and roll and do the closing?
You betcha. And I've got a bunch of storybooks here, so I'm going to tell something.
We got about 20 minutes, so
okay,
whatever you feel.
Well, how about this one here is a story of the rabbit dance. And it was made by Janine Peltier and J.D. Panis. And I've read the story, and it's a good story. It's lots of fun. and then I'll sing a song. So I won't take so long on the story because I think I took a little bit too long last time. So I'll speed up the story. I'll just do it nice and relaxed, but I won't try to kill time with it.
Oh, you got to go a little bit lower.
Yeah, I'm going to just check out something here.
We need like a blooper reel at the end of this month. Hey?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit lower.
All right. Yeah, right there, Uncle. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, no, let me see. Well, we could start off with a song anyway.
Yes. Well, yeah. Why don't we go a song, a little quick story, and then finish it off with a song, and then we'll close it out and get more.
You know, what's this one? That was your buddy when you were a little boy. And what's this one is my son, and him and Nathan and Wally and Niska. Wally, what's this one and Niska, they're my two boys, and just across the road was Nathan and Wally. And they would come over to the house there, and I'd be washing the boys' face, and I'd say, "Do you boys want your faces washed too?" They said, "Sure." So what I would do, and I was just doing fun, and they were having fun too. I had that big basin there, and I'd wash this one. I said, "Your turn, son." I'd grab him by the hair, and I'd put him right close in, and I'd just grab that water, and then I'd just wash his face and his ears and his neck like that. Then I'd grab a towel. "Here, dry yourself." "Niska, come here." Niska would come there, boy. I just grab that water. I just put it all over his face and there, wash him his neck and everything. And Wally and Nathan would be laughing there, and everybody would be laughing, and I'd be laughing. And then Nathan, I said, "You want your face washed?" "Yes, Uncle." He said, "Come here." I said, and I'd grab him, I'd pull him there by the hair, and I'd just wash his face like that, and all over them, inside, and washing inside his ears, under it. And then "Here's that towel, now dry yourself." And then Wally, and he'd be waiting. Then he'd come and I'd just grab him by the hair, I'd put him there, I'd grab that one. Oh, we had fun. I don't think they ever forgot it. They never came back again, though, to get their faces washed. But we had fun. I was always making fun of everything. And I think that's why my boys like that. All my little relatives, they like that, being around me, because we were always having fun. Okay, so anyway, one time, this song here is about Stefan. He's my oldest son. He's 52 years old. He lives over at Montmagny on the other side of Quebec City, and he's with the tribe over there. And so because it's so far away, Red Pheasant, so he's with that tribe over there. He transferred over there, and so it looks like he's going to stay there. So I've got Wassisquan. He lives in Vancouver Island, and he's with those Indians in Vancouver Island. And he goes down the coast every year with them on about a week-long canoe ride, big canoe ride, maybe 15 people in every canoe paddling. And he sings songs as they're going down there. He's a chief of one of those boats. So here's what's happening. I have in the west coast, I have a BC Indian there. That's my son Wassisquan. And then in Alberta, well, I've got many relatives in Alberta, and in Saskatchewan, I've got many. And Nathan is one of my close relatives. His mother Alice is very, very close, related to us. And so there's Watanis in Saskatchewan, and there's Watanis in Manitoba, and in Ontario, I have my brother's children over there in Ontario. And in Quebec, I have Maliseet Indian, which is my son Stefan. He switched over to that tribe from the Red Pheasant, because that was right there, about 20 minutes from where he lives. And then in Montmagny, and then Eric lives in Quebec City, and he's doing very well there. He had quite a bit of trouble there with drugs and alcohol, but he almost lost both his feet there one time because he froze his feet. And he went to the hospital, and the doctor told him, he said, if you'd have waited one more hour, he would said, I would have had to amputate both feet. So he came back last year, and he lived in the same town that his mother lives, and he lived with his mother and her man for about almost a year maybe, and now he's got his own place, and he really looks after himself now, because he's so happy that he can walk. He's so happy that he's got the love back of his mother. He's got the love back from me, because we prayed for him every day. I prayed for him every day when he was going through his troubles, and so at Christmas time, I gave him a Bose recording unit, a Bose 1811, and it's just a beautiful. It was $2,800 when I bought it about 20 years ago, but it was still in excellent shape, and it has 500 different instruments on it and 300 different rhythms, and it's got 12 recording tracks on there. And then I also sent him a real nice electric guitar for Christmas. Plus, I gave him a microphone on the long cord. And I forget who said, "Why are you giving him so much?" And I said, "Did you ever hear the prodigal son story in the Bible? This man had given two sons lots of money. One of them, he took that money and away he went, and he started partying right away, women and drinking and just partying, irresponsible. He had the money, so he just partied. And the other son, he got a business going. He married a wife, had children, started raising them. And about 10 years later, that one son, he was just about dead from all the stuff that he was doing. He came home, and his father, and he came home and he told his father, "I miss you, I love you, and I need you," he told him. And his father told his son, "Go and kill that fatted calf." He said, "We're going to have a big feast for him." And so his son went and did that, killed that fatted calf. And he asked his dad, he said, I have a business. I've got a wife and children. I've always been responsible to whatever you've given to me with that money. That's what I did. And he said, but my brother, he went out, he played with his money, he drank it up. He had women running around all over the place. He said, "Why are you making such a big party for him and not for me?" "Son," he said, "this is so beautiful that he came back, and you have been always good. I've never had a problem with you. You've always been good. And you are a big gift to me also." He said, "But he came back. He is life," he said, "and I missed him all the time when he was gone. But he is now the prodigal son." And so that's what I told that person. I said, "He's the prodigal son. He came back, and I'm giving him as much as I can." So I gave him as much as I could for Christmas. And he just sat there for every day, for just working on that music, because he loves music. And I've got other guitars here, bass guitar, and the day comes when I go, he'll probably get whatever I have musical, because he is a musician. So far, there in my family, my close family, there's no other musicians in there. But anyway, this song is not about him, but just a story. But anyway, I love him, and we had so much fun when he was younger, because he was so good on drums and singing, and he was drumming with me all over Canada and North America when he was 16 years old, and he would drum for all these other big groups too. He was so good. But anyway, this is a funny little song about my oldest son, and probably all of you mothers and fathers know that song. One day he said, "Daddy," he said, "can you come outside and play with me?" And I said, "Son, I've really got to practice hard." I said, "I got a big show coming up, and I really got to practice hard, really." I said, "I can't afford to go outside right now, but if you can wait for about an hour, I'll go outside with you. Then I'll practice really hard for an hour. Then I'll go outside and play with you." And he looked kind of mad, And I said, "Well, go play outside, son. I'll be outside in an hour." So he went to the door. When he got to the door, he stopped and he slammed the door. And then I looked at him and he said, "Daddy's not my friend. Yeah, 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 yeah." And I looked at him. First time I ever heard him say that. "I like mommy better. Yeah, 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 yeah." And I thought, oh my goodness, that hurt. And he went outside. And the worst thing and you fathers, you've probably done that too. You say to your son, you're going to do something, or your daughter, and you don't do it. We all do that. It's something that happens. We're just human beings. So that night when he went to bed, I still felt bad. And so what I did is I took my guitar and I made this song up, that "Daddy's Not My Friend." And that, incidentally, is a natural chant of childhood. Here's a natural chant of childhood. "Mommy." That's a minor third. In other words, like from a G to a C. Or Daddy, B to G sharp, or whatever, a minor third. And so it was easy to write the song. So I wrote that song about him. Okay. Daddy, won't you let me play guitar? Daddy, won't you let me sing my song? Daddy, won't you let me play guitar? Daddy's not my friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. I like mommy better. Yeah, 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 yeah. Daddy, won't you let me sing my song? I just want to breeze up the string. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. I like the way my daddy sings it oh so fine. But I know that I could sing as well if I had a little guitar I could call mine. Daddy, won't you let me play guitar? Daddy, won't you let me sing my song? Daddy, won't you let me play guitar? Daddy's not my friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. I like mommy better. Yeah, 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 yeah. Daddy, won't you let me sing my song? I just want to breeze up the street. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. If you let me sing duet, I'll be so strong and high. I'll sing up high and I'll sing down low. In song we could rejoice. Ho, ho, ho. Daddy, won't you let me sing guitar? Daddy, won't you let me play my song? Daddy, won't you let me play my song? Daddy's not my friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. I like mommy better. Yeah, 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 yeah. Daddy, won't you let me sing my song? I just want to race up the street. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. Oh, Daddy, don't look so weird. I guess I like you too, you know. You old goat. Oh, thank you very much.
Hey, that was awesome.
Oh, thank you very much.
We were just in the background going like this, Uncle.
Oh, you were? Oh, right on there. Well, I guess that's what you're going to have to get on next. You're going to have to get dancers dancing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be really good.
So we have 10 minutes left. Are there any questions from anybody? I noticed that people can send in messages. So you're welcome to send a message. And can you tell them where they would send it, Nathan?
Yeah, they just in the comments, you guys. If you put a question up there, or our tech guy here and my trainee, who I'm getting trained here to do the podcasting thing, will post it up here. So if you guys have any questions for myself, what's going on for the future of this month, and like I know what's going on for the future, but if you have any questions for my Uncle Winston, let us know. Just a reminder, my Uncle Winston will be co-hosting with myself and Nikki. Possibly, are you going to co-host the rest of the month with us?
I guess.
All right. So myself and Nikki will be co-hosting Monday and Friday with my Uncle Winston here. So from 12 to 2, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will be the other CWS staff who are either be bringing on a guest for them to interview, or they're going to tell a story. But the whole theme behind it is Indigenous storytelling, and to hear those stories. The one you just like the stories you heard from my uncle there. So, and I know my uncle's got a million more to tell. So really looking forward to it.
We have 10 minutes, so maybe somebody will send in a question.
Oh, there you go. There's one. How do you stay so energetic in spirit, Uncle? From Noella.
Oh, well, okay, Nola. You know that mom had a disease called, I forget what it was called, but she didn't her blood was very, very low. Pernicious anemia. What was it? Pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia. And when I turned 75, Nola, I got her disease that she had. And all of a sudden I needed blood. And how I found out I had it was one day I was going to a show and I fainted right at the steps. And what do you call those big? Ambulance. An ambulance. And they took me to the hospital and I got blood. That was the weirdest thing. When I woke up in the morning, I opened my eyes. Everybody was bright red because that blood was still in the veins in my eyes. It was all over in my whole body. Everybody was red. I just looked at everybody. Then finally, after about 20 seconds, everybody turned back normal color. But what I found out was that I had to eat properly, and I had to have Indian foods that all my ancestors ate. That was buffalo. We have buffalo in the fridge. We have moose in the fridge. We have fish out in the back of my truck. Not in the back, but in the hood. We got 4 boxes of fish. And we eat good. The only thing I don't eat good at is I love bread. And that's been, sometimes I'll be able to get away from it, but most times I can't. So that's how, and then I don't drink, and I haven't drank for 45 years. And I don't even smoke. I drink lots of water. When I get up first thing in the morning, it's about 10 o'clock before I ever have a cup of tea. I don't drink coffee. And I just had 1 cup of tea, but I drink lots of water. And so that, and then if there's something to do, I just jump up and do it. I don't wait. I just jump up and do it. I get outside, I do the snow, So last summer, I made 6 gardens. I got these big boxes that truckers put all these boxes someplace. They're wooden boxes that covering for crates and stuff like that. And I brought 6 of those home, and I made 6 gardens. So this summer I'm going to make 6 gardens too, but I'm going to make one more right along the fence right here, the south side of the fence. And I'm going to make one for just potatoes. And if Jerry wants me to make one just for something, I'll do that too. But we've got gardens in the back of the house and right out here in the front. And I love it. I just love it because I go out there and sometimes I just sit out there in the summertime with a cup of tea and a sandwich, and I watch the garden grow. And I swear I can hear that garden growing because it grows so fast. And it's just a wonderful thing to do. And if I'm around there out of Red Pheasant this summer, I'll help one of my relatives. They want a garden, I'll help them make a garden. Last time I was there, Alice wanted me to help her. So we did the whole garden, which was no problem. I was glad to do that because, if you're alive, that's a time to do stuff. And that's a time when you do stuff for your relatives, they're happy about that. And so I'm always happy to do that because they've always looked after me very good. Whenever I've gone there, they've really looked after me. They fed me, looked after me, and it's really good.
Auntie Yvonne, you want to post that one there? Informative and interesting. I'll put it out to the world on my Facebook page. Right on.
Yeah, Yvonne, I hear that you've got that about the looking after being better grandparents for our relatives, our better ancestors. Good for you. I'm really glad about that. And so, Yvonne, if anybody wants to do that, let them contact you. And also, if anybody wants to do that, they can contact me right on this show here, because I'll be running this show for I don't know how long, but for sure all month this month.
Yeah.
Me and Nathan and Nikki.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's another one. Krista Shore. What does that one say? Thank you for reminding us of the 7-generation teaching. It was a joy to listen. Well, thank you, Krista.
Krista, well, make sure you join in with us. And if you join in with us on that 100-year plan, then bring some of your friends there, because you know what? You might as well do it. It's such a wonderful thing to do. We'll be doing something, because when we look back, I always had a picture of Geronimo here. He wasn't a Cree Indian, but I love this story. And I had other pictures on my walls of different chiefs. At one time, I had about 20 pictures of all the famous chiefs. And I've written stories about different chiefs and songs about them. And so I went to that to Palmbaker when Trudeau came to Canada. When Prime Minister Trudeau came, he exonerated Palmbaker for his part in the rebellion. And yet it wasn't his fault, because it was the white men that came to fight him, and Palmbaker had to protect his people and his land, which is really good, But I was so proud of Trudeau that he did that. And that's what we do. We have to do stuff like that. We have just be a better person yourself, because you are like a mighty tree. As you grow, you do things. You have children. Some of them do really good. Those ones, they've done good. Some of them do bad, but at least they learned the lesson. They'll go on to do good stuff. And you just got this one life to do good stuff. So what I do is I have very positive friends. They're very good friends. They talk in good ways. They don't gossip. They don't talk about other people. They're just very good friends. And most of them have done something good, And so it's a pleasure. Like I have one friend, John, him and I go play golf. All summer long we play golf. And we were just talking about that yesterday. He came, and we were saying that we got to go. We can't wait until summertime. And then Jerry, when I came in, she said, Winston, she said, look at this. This is what you were saying 11 years ago. You said, I wish somebody would hire me down in Arizona. I want to go down there and play golf all winter.
Awesome, Uncle. Well, I guess that's time to wrap it up. I guess Uncle will finish off with a song from you, and I just want to say thank you. And you guys, make sure to tune in on this page. It's 12 wherever you're watching from. We're Saskatchewan time, okay? So that's it's 1:58 here right now. And we go till 2 p.m. So it's 12 p.m. Saskatchewan time. We're gonna do this Monday to Friday, all of February. And yeah, my Uncle Winston will be hosting with myself and Nikki here Monday and Friday, and then we'll have different guests on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you guys, like I said, if you guys know anybody out there that has stories and Indigenous stories, please let us know, and we could bring them on the show, and it'd be nice to hear it. So with that, thank you, Nikki, for getting thrown in here and learning on the fly. What do you think of podcasting so far?
It's not as scary as I thought it would
No,
be. Of course, you're doing most of the talking, so that's good.
Hey, by the end of February, she's gonna be probably doing all the talking and be taking over. So
You'll be shushing me by then.
yeah. Any word you want to say?
No, I think we're good. I think we're ready to hear.
All right,
Winston.
so we're gonna say goodbye. Uncle Winston, you take it away. But Uncle, after you're done the song, we'll end the live and stay on here, and I'll chit chat with you right after. But you guys, thank you for coming out tonight, staying with our first show here on Clifford Watney school page, CWS Indigenous Storytelling Month, and we will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Nikki.
Hi.
And I will sing this song for all our ancestors, all our people that have passed away. And for Herman that just passed away, Herman Pun just passed away. And also Jeanette, thank you very much for that story that you told online. I listened to that. I was really happy to hear that story. So get my phone number off my nephew and phone us, okay? We'd like to talk to you because you're so wise. Okay, here then is a song for everybody, that all our relatives that have passed away. So we'll send the ancestors home with this. When the sunset over the world, I'll be thinking of you. I know you are far away. No matter where you are, I still love you just the same. Hey, when the sunset over the world, I'll be thinking of you. I know you are far away. No matter where you are, I still love you just the same. Hey, hey,